DreamHack Open is brought to you by Astro, Monster Energy, Corsair, Hacks, and GGBet.
And here we have the beautiful city of Montreal located in Quebec. And my goodness, look at these guys playing ping pong. They've been at it ever since we got here, and it doesn't look to be letting up on the foosball table either. Nonetheless, we have not came for those silly little games. We've come here for our game, and that is Counter-Strike Global Offensive. And my goodness, that trophy couldn't get any shinier that you are seeing on your stream now. Today, we will crown a champion. DreamHack Open Montreal 2018. But before that, we have two semifinal best of threes to power through. And of course, my name is Trey Stenasarantis, and I want to let you know, as always, making this possible would be Astro, Corsair, Monster Energy, and Hacks GG, as well as my analytical crew. Now, these dashing young gentlemen to my left have been up all night, slaving away, grinding away the numbers and the calculations to find out who's going to be in the finals today. So, Tommy, Dustin, how are we feeling today, fellas?
Really sleepy, been crunching numbers all night, like you said. That's the life.
Did
right?
the numbers come together to spell out easy for ints?
They did, but that part I already did prior to the event.
Oh, okay,
I was really just trying to figure out the Polish side, who they're going to crush in the finals.
Fair enough.
I was just thinking about numbers, spelling things. It just kind of threw me. Anyway, that's not what we're going to be talking about. In fact, now we do have a recap from yesterday's action. We had quite a few matches yesterday, 4 BO3s to be exact, which all culminates to today, the finals day. But let's see what recap for day number 2 looks like.
Wesby silently has walked out. No one knows he's here. Can walk straight into teammate and backstab 2 players.
Oh, collateral. The trade's there straight away from S-Tag. He knows the shadow's there. He's got to close the distance. He's going to go for the nose scope, and he gets himself the kill. He could get a good headshot, but he falls off immediately. Rollins in the corner with the CZ, and nobody looks. He gets himself 2 and upgrade to the AK. Give us the 4th. Twist, sweating bullets, and Rollins firing them off. His forward, Steele's gonna get the phone. Down they go, and Newport also fallen. 3 kills for Steele. Back against the wall, and it has to be a monumental effort from him. He's pulled it back to the one-on-one, and Mertz.
Now Pound all alone, finds the first one, goes for the second through the box, gets the third as well, Pound!
Come on, minute and 15 seconds of players walking into his crosshair. You can't give Mouse these sorts of frags. He's going to manage all of them.
And you see that man, Taz, on your screen. Boy, is he fired up for today's first match. Was going to be AGO versus Kinguin, followed by a little bit of Ints action, and Imperial looking a lot better yesterday than they did in the first day.
That was certainly a 180 from the form that we saw in the opening match, where they got 3 rounds. Really didn't look like a team that was supposed to be here. But then obviously yesterday, cruised to 2 quick wins. Actually looked pretty good throughout both wins too. It wasn't like super close wins that were kind of up in there. You know, fairly convincing, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I think Group A played out exactly how we thought. Ints taking the top seed, Kinguin number 2. Group B was a little bit different though, right? I mean, I thought we had AGO. Like, that was probably a team you thought had a good chance to make it through. But I thought Heroic, after what they did at Stockholm and what they did at Valencia, would be able to come through. They actually went dead last in that group to Luminosity. So definitely a little bit more surprising on that side of the bracket, but we're here now.
Here's a surprise for you.
Okay.
And it's brought to you by Hacks GG. It's 3 reasons why with Dusty Moretti. Take it away, Moretti.
Indeed, so I tried to slip another word in there, but we'll go with freaking. I have no freaking idea who will win this game, and so let's talk about why that's going to be the case. First off, this is going to be a close domestic matchup between Kinguin and AGO, obviously all coming from Poland, very familiar with one another. Last time they played, it was a very close game back when Snatchy was still on AGO, so we don't really have any head-to-head results with the current lineups, so I think that's obviously always going to play a factor when you have a domestic matchup like this. Secondly, I think we've been seeing Kinguin growing, where we've been seeing AGO kind of fading out. You know, Kinguin really picked up the pace with these last couple of Zotac events. They seem to be playing really well here, whereas AGO had a strong start at the beginning of the year, winning Mountain Dew League, making it into EPL, winning a couple of small events, and obviously that big Starlighter Season 5 event where they 3-0'd a best-of-3 Swiss system against some really good teams and got a top 8 finish. But then the last 3 DreamHack Opens in a row, they've gone out in the group stages, and their online form has also dipped a little bit up until now. Like, they've looked a little bit better at this event. And finally, our third point, everyone in the server basically is positive overall for this event. Everyone's been playing well for both teams in all the games we've seen so far. So when you have every individual in this server in good form, it's obviously going to be a banger and a hard one to read.
Yes, those are 3 reasons brought to you by not only Dusty Moretti, but also Hacks GG. Go check them out. They got some cool merch over there. They're working with quite a few teams these days. But more importantly than that would be the maps that we're going to find ourselves playing on here for this first best of 3. Getting into it, guys, we talk about domestic matchups, we talk about this, that, and the other, but at the end of the day, the maps are crucial.
Well, that is the beauty of Counter-Strike, I would say. You know, that's what really separates Counter-Strike from some of the other games, is that you do have the map veto part. You know, we've been through these teams a couple of times. We know Kinguin's going to take out Inferno. Yep. I think
AGO takes out Nuke.
Yeah, AGO probably takes out Nuke. I don't think Mirage gets played. I think both teams will want to avoid that. I think that gets vetoed in the second round.
Certainly possible. I'm kind of curious about picks because I feel like AGO is really wide with their map pool. Like, they're willing to play almost anything, whereas Kinguin has really favored actually picking Dust 2 a lot lately, and that is actually one of the slider weaknesses for AGO, so that could be an edge there if Kinguin decided to go for a Dust 2 pick again. Actually, I think Kinguin might be the one, if anyone did, to go for a Mirage pick, just because I think it's a little bit shakier for AGO, and Kinguin has liked playing the map lately. Like, very recently, they started kind of adding it to their map pool and playing it a bit more, so that could be a curveball. Whereas, again, for AGO, they could go so many different directions. And when you have a domestic matchup like this, that obviously always makes it a little bit harder to figure out where this is going to head.
Well, we're going to fly the bands in. The first 2 are Inferno and Nuke. You guys still sticking to your guns here?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what we called. So now it's just all about, I think Kinguin's going to go for either Dust 2 or Mirage, and then for AGO, no idea.
I mean, I think it's Dust 2. For AGO, I don't know. It might be, I don't really know what's
I think Train or Overpass are their favorites.
I think Train could be the one. I don't think they would want to play Overpass after yesterday.
Let's find out. Looks like it's going to be Dust 2 and Train.
So still good. I think Mirage gets vetoed by Kinguin.
I think AGO would ban it first, but I'm not 100% sure. I think they're going to play a little bit of, so AGO does ban it first, and so we are going to go to Cash for a third map. All right.
D2, Train, and Cash will be our first semifinal. And, well, you know, for what it's worth, you talk about domestic matchups, and we could maybe even talk about some of the players we could highlight, because there are some players sticking out from either of these Polish sides. Maybe Sparrow is one that really comes to mind in terms of impact that he could have in this matchup.
I think he's actually the best player rated at this tournament right now. He's the new addition to the team, so that's certainly a nice little debut, especially because I'm pretty sure he came off of Kinguin's bench. I'm pretty sure he was actually with their organization but not starting, and so maybe a little bit of a grudge match there then that he gets to play against his old team saying, hey, you guys had me on the bench. I went over to the other team. I'm the top-rated player for this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like you said, everybody's been playing well, so it's not like, you know, he's like the lone superstar here and then everybody else is kind of down here. I think Rollins, another player who's had a pretty good tournament. We were talking about Tazzy yesterday. He's really shown that he can really frag at this level. You know, obviously had his individual struggles playing in Virtus Pro, but unlike many players who have sort of come down, you know, a notch in the level of play, or their, you know, the team level of play, he's actually been able to hold up individually quite well playing here.
I think Mazzino is the only player out of the 10 that we're going to see playing in this game that's negative overall for the event. Everyone else in the green, and even with Mazzino, even though he's negative overall, it's only because he had like 2 really bad maps out of, you know, maybe the 6 or so that he played. He still played really well in the other games. So yeah, definitely a lot of individual form here.
A lot of individual form, as well as us having the ability to catch up with these teams yesterday and find a little bit more about their path into this semifinal number 1. Let's hear what they had to say.
So this is our first LAN with this lineup. Sparrow joined the team, and it's our first offline tournament. Yeah, I'm just so happy that we are in the semifinal. We want to give our best.
G1 and a second as well, chaining together a couple of kills to make this round possible. Now leaves Toa in the firing line, but 10 seconds left.
It's one just dropped.
The Molotov's gone down and on it, and Haji riding on through, has to find the kill, but it's not going to happen. AGO.
We had problems with our gear, we had problems with our t-shirts, pants, socks. So kinda it feels like a relief that even though all the problems, all the things that happened to us during our travel, we managed to just fight through it and go to the semi-final.
Wrapping round from behind. There, he spots them out. Almost finds that as well. Taps on the knife. No, and Taz is going to find the 1v3. Picks up a kit as well. And it's going to come down to the wire.
Now or never, we should just train as hard as we can, because with Snatchy we're a bit lazy maybe sometimes. And now with Sparrow coming in, we train as hard as we can, and I think we're confident they should be afraid.
I dream of coming back to top-tier Counter-Strike. I do everything I can. I want us to play good Counter-Strike. I want us to play beautiful Counter-Strike. If we manage to do this, then we will win. But first we need to focus on just playing the game, enjoying the game, and having some luck.
Being done with utility. And straight through the smoke, Rallen picks up the double. The AWP of Minis could shut this down right now. He will get the first one. Second one as well, Minis. Just on point.
Misses his spray and leaves it all on Sparrow, who does get this down into even keel, but 15 health the difference, and Sparrow gets them both.
It's a good day for Counter-Strike, a good day for Poland, because we are getting back to semifinals and finals.
There you have it. AGO have netted themselves a semifinal, not quite all the way to the final yet, but this is the first stepping stone. Let's talk a little bit more in depth about each of the players on this team, Dust.
Yeah, I mean, again, we talked about how every single player on this team has had a really good event so far. Sparrow, the top-rated player for the team, the new to AWP for the team. He's also shifted the dynamic of how AGO operates. They used to rely on Snatchy to be kind of an entry offer, the one to create openings. Sparrow's a little bit more of a kind of a cool kind of guy just holding angles while he lets the riflers take prominence in the early round stages, and all those riflers have been performing really, really well, particularly Furlan. He's usually one of the guys that does a lot of the entry work on many of these maps, and he's been super on point, and I think it's nice to see that even though the in-game leadership has shuffled a couple of times with AGO team, it's kind of back to Tao, and he's done a really good job so far this tournament calling. I mean, they play a really nice up-tempo style, they're really coordinated, and they have been wreaking havoc all over the teams they've played so far at this tournament.
I mean, that basically sums up the team. They're fairly well-rounded, like you said. You know, they've outside of the slight in-game leadership issues, which really, you know, are an issue for the whole Counter-Strike scene, I would say. Like, there's surprisingly few people in the world who are happy to be the leader of the team. Everybody wants to be fragging these days.
Or be a leader overall, like, yeah, just in life.
But, you know, beyond that, seems to be a fairly well-rounded team. They have the roles set up pretty well. Obviously, you know, they are the team out of these two that went 2-0 in the first day, so they had yesterday off, which, you know, that could always come into play a little bit. That means they get more time to prepare, but it's also less, you know, less Counter-Strike being played. And I think Toa was said in the winners interview after the after topping the group on day one that they were just kind of you know, relax on the second day and not worry about Counter-Strike too much. So we'll see if that plays into it. Obviously, on the other hand, Kinguin played 2 series yesterday.
Yeah, meanwhile, Kinguin just acquiring their gear yesterday, where in which they had already played a BO3 before, winning, and then, hey, you know what, we'll play with our gear. And that will, I guess, come to fruition a little bit more.
Well, I mean, at least, and I would think, actually, this is the biggest thing about it. It's like, I doubt it actually makes a big difference for them, because I would imagine they probably have the correct mice, and then the rest of it, you know, isn't that important, as long as you have the correct one. But what I think is, like, when things start going wrong, then you don't have that to blame, which means you're probably gonna, you know, get less annoyed if everything doesn't go to plan. And I think that's really the biggest difference in a situation like this.
Let me put it in perspective here. I also came here without a bag, and somehow...
But you survived.
I have survived, and I have everything I need for the most part. I even saved this shirt for today.
Listen, Trace, let's just say it's a good thing that the hotel gift shop is open late.
Yeah. Very much so. Even though they don't sell face wash, that one's a little bit of a bummer. Nonetheless, Kinguin not needing any face wash just yet, as this match hasn't gotten underway. You can see the team huddling up, probably some motivational words. You know, Tommy, if you had to guess what Taz was saying in this moment, what do you think he would be saying?
I think lots of things that are not good for public broadcast.
You want to try any of those, or is your Polish not that good?
Not that. I only know one word in Polish, and that's also not good for a public broadcast.
You won't. Yeah. No walls.
At least not like Nexa.
Yeah.
But anyway, you know, I'm sure that Taz is just probably trying to get everyone calm, cool, and collected. They know this is a big game. They know this is another opportunity to have a big tournament to, you know, go with the momentum. And Taz certainly happy to lead them in. I actually went and talked to him before, you know, this all started. I was like, hey, man, I'm having trouble coming up with the prediction of who's going to win this game. And Taz is like, well, you can just predict us to win because I think we are. And I was like, cool. So I guess I'll be picking Kinguin a little bit later when we get to it. But no, I mean, we've really seen Kinguin throughout this tournament grow. Like, obviously a slower start in the opening game, but really got their act together. I think that this team's actually more composed than AGO tactically. I think that their roles are a lot more established, and I think that they are just a little bit sharper on, because both these teams play fast in the contract, so you're going to see a lot of fast rounds here, which is a lot of fun. It's going to be very explosive, but you're looking over at Aralen. He's definitely been leading the charge as kind of an entry type player for his team, doing really well with ADR and finding entry kills, 19 entry kills for Aralen, so he's been very effective in his role. And when you're playing an aggressive style like that and one of your entry fraggers is popping off, it just makes everything easier in the game. It means that you're dominating the early portions of rounds and making it easy on yourself in post plants, and Arelen's definitely delivered on that front.
Sparrow's at 0.9 KPR. He's at a great tournament, over 100 ADR so far, and he's actually a quarter of his kills have been entries so far. That's, you know, that's a pretty big number.
And you know what else is a big number?
What is a big number, Trace?
The Twitch chat votes. When they finally roll in, that's !AGO or !King if you're feeling a little frisky. Maybe even type spam this Penguin to help Kinguin. Don't even really know what I can do there for AGO, but that's about the best I got. Either way, yes, get your votes in, and just about time for us to get some votes in on our end. So perhaps we jump into predictions.
Speaking of votes, just before we get to predictions, did we ever get Twitch chat to settle the logo thing for AGO?
No, no. Actually, you could try it again.
Can we get that graphic up? That's what I really want to find out. That's what I want to crowdsource. Predictions we got here, but we need to know which logo it is.
Definitely looks more like the Eagles.
Seahawks.
It is an eagle.
No, it's the angled Seahawks logo. That's what it looks like.
No. Let's angle this a different way. Dust, okay, give me a prediction, man.
Just got to go with my gut and go with Kinguin. I've tried to reason it out. I've come with nothing, so I'll go with Kinguin.
Nice. Outstanding analysis. You can pay for that. Tommy?
I'm going to roll with Taz. I think getting to play a couple series yesterday, I think it's going to be helpful for them. I think AGO, you know, they've had a day off. They only got to play 2 maps. And I just think the little added experience on Taz's side and those guys, I think, will be helpful here.
Well, it's all come down to this. Will I stay true to my desk, or will I go my own path? And I think I will go my own path. I think AGO has to come in this with just a little bit more confidence and a little bit more preparation than that of Kinguin, who spent all day yesterday playing. And of course, that could all change now. But you know what else could also change, and perhaps you change it on your own, is head over to DreamHack.com/digitalpass. That's right. Get in on this night.
Oh, the POV. The POV could change.
It could change, but still on me. So there it is. DreamHack.com/digitalpass, and head over to Snipe. There you can get all the backstage content, all the multimedia that you could possibly imagine coming out of this venue, coming out of this event, the DreamHack Open Montreal. We have just a few short minutes before we will be jumping into this matchup. So before we do that, I just want to ask you guys, what are your overall impressions as we look to leave Montreal?
Overall impressions? Well, I've been really impressed with your tidbits about Canada. Okay. Montreal specifically, you know, some of the food items here. A TV show that's been really top notch.
You like that one?
Yeah, we've seen some good Counter-Strike. Hopefully, we get a little more.
Dust?
Yeah, all about that smoked meat. You know, obviously.
All Dust Moret, always about smoking meat. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the Twitch results. We had you spam the chat, and if you didn't do it, you missed your opportunity, because it does look like AGO sides with me, not you guys, and that is why I get paid the big bucks. So. You guys got anything to say to Twitch chat in this regard?
Still waiting for you guys to settle the Seahawks-Eagles debate.
It's like a hybrid sort of mix, because he's got feathers on his
I
neck.
know, but I think that's probably how the logo was formed. Someone looked
It'd be
at
nice
those
to do a
two and
side-by-side
put them
comparison, but we
together.
totally get sued for that, I feel like, if we throw NFL logos up there. So
Can someone tweet us side by side?
Yeah. So we can safely do a side-by-side.
Hashtag DH Open.
Hashtag DH Open is the correct hashtag. Thank you very much, Tommy. Guys, we're going to be jumping into this matchup. Enough from us. Let's hear from some guys that just fill the room with hot air every single time they open their mouths. That's going to be Harry and Risk. Risk, what do you truly feel Harry could be doing better in his life?
That's a good question.
You know what? You guys just take it
Where
from
do
here.
you start?
It's a good question. I felt like you did very well yesterday. We had a nice day off.
Okay, thank you.
Enjoyed Montreal. It was
Yeah.
nice. We got some good food. Got some smoked meat, of course. Shout out to Dusty Moretti. And yeah, just hung out. It's a really nice city. You were talking about moving here all day yesterday.
Yeah.
I couldn't get him to stop.
I've actually been
He was like,
researching it.
yeah, wanted to learn French and everything.
I'm putting in the application. I'm getting it done. You know, best country on earth. Let's go. But yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited, Risk, for this game. I honestly am. I love like a good derby. I love a good domestic matchup. And I tell you what, if you think about it, if you think about kind of how the Polish scene has been, we haven't really had a chance to see too many, you know, Polish matchups where it has just been, you know, kind of two up-and-coming teams for the most part, just because VP kind of had the limelight for the longest time, right? So this is going to be exciting because these are the kind of the guys who, as VP now starts to kind of patter out, you know, it's not the same organization it used to be. As this starts to come to an end, the VP era, you know, one of these two teams could be the team that steps up within Poland to become that new best team in Poland.
We just saw the GG bet odds. I would say 3.08, I think it was, on Kinguin is pretty good. At least you're going to be following the footsteps of Dust and Tommy.
Yeah, right. You got some people siding with you. But I tell you what, Risk, there's so much to talk about. I actually, for the first time ever, I don't feel like we have enough time. But it's fine.
We're going to jump into the game, Harry.
Yes, we're going to be heading in to Dust 2. Map number 1 here in this best of 3 series. The first semi-final of today here at DreamHack Open Montreal. Kinguin over on the CT side, and AGO going to be kicking things off on the T side. You can see Toa and Sparrow both buying up utility for the squad. Ralin goes ahead and spots out these players down in lower tunnels, but he is yet to get too much done. It's going to be Taz tested first down in mid, and Manish is able to open up with a quick double.
Yeah, mid control trying to be taken, but it doesn't matter. Mouse and Ralin both stand in the line. Stop them. And now Toa, 1v3 in this scenario. Doesn't have the bomb, doesn't have any control. The only light point in his life right now is the Molotov he has. But that is going to be too big of a factor with 3 CTs still remaining, all situated around mid. And yeah, Kinguin looking solid in this first pistol, but as we all know, pistols can be kind of random sometimes. Still need to wait and see until we get some buy rounds going before we can say there's a clear difference in strength. Toa gets the bomb. Attack on Rhea. Goes for another challenge. Down to 40 HP. Now it's done. Ralin will finish at the AWP and 1-0 for Kinguin.
Yeah, it's such an awkward situation to be in. There's just so many players that kind of doomed if you do, doomed if you don't situation. That is going to be not the results they would have liked, though. I mean, good stuff from an East down in mid. That's going to allow Kinguin to find themselves the pistol here. Now poise themselves as well over on Dust. Going to be going for the force buy over on the side of AJ. They didn't get that bomb down. Scout out for Sparrow. Able to find anything early on in through those mid doors. Both players managed to get across unscathed.
Nice. FAMAS in hand. The rest of the team pretty much buying up a lot weapons-wise. Only 1 UMP on Taz, so that means that not a lot of utility and only 1 kit on the CT side. So they're opting for firepower instead of all the control elements. On the T side, looks like they're stacking up towards a B push. 2 CT players there already. Smoke is going to fade in 5 seconds. 1 T smoke and then maybe 2 flashes in, while PHR is making noise over towards short. That could be the strat. Taking mid control as well, so this is surely going to be the B split. At least that's the plan for now. Ruby positioning himself, getting ready as well. There's actually no one nearby, and that's the smoke. It's actually for CT spawn, so here we go, full B split. Mouse and his teammate needs to defend.
Yeah, this is going to be a good test here of this Kinguin defense in towards the B bomb site. We're going to stay on Mouse here as they start to push towards him. Has tagged down the first couple, and he's going to go ahead and find himself a double. He loses out Manish though over here in mid, and this is where things could get deadly. Taz Able to trade. Sparrow looking down towards CT spawn. Hasn't been able to find anything yet, but 20 seconds left. A little bit of time left to play around with, but it is starting to work against him now. He has to try and get this bomb down.
This is almost impossible.
Yeah, second he taps it, Taz goes running in. He is able to get the bomb plant, though, so all in all, that's a pretty fantastic round for AGO when you consider how badly things turned after the first few players push in.
Definitely. 1v3 and still manages to get the bomb. That's some free money. They did invest into this one, so it's not all good. Still probably going to go for a CZ or an eco after this one. And yeah, pretty good defense on that B bomb side. I always like the fact that when you kind of feel like, okay, there's something brewing in that mid-control area, you just position yourself up very defensively near the B bomb side, exactly like Minis was doing in that situation. He didn't want to go for an aggressive peek because he knows they have to be 2 on site if they go for that B split. And he did. Ended up being a 3v1 in the end, and the CT side with better weaponry definitely always going to win that.
Yeah, this time they put in a bit of an investment, but this round is one that Kinguin should be winning pretty convincingly. I'll wait and see, but it does look like the mop-up's already coming in. This is now a good time, I reckon, maybe to talk about why we're both so excited for this matchup. Risk, what would be your couple of reasons?
Yeah, as the desk said, as we're going to see this right out here, it's this Polish domestic matchup, and in my opinion, it's kind of a competition to see who's the best team in Poland right now. Because VP, let's be honest, even though they were at the major, these two teams, in my opinion, are better right now. So it's kind of like, who's the best team in Poland? And also, it's interesting because, as far as I remember, these two teams don't actually play each other that much because the Polish scene, at least with the current iterations of the lineup, I only think they played once in ESL Poland. And that was a 2-0 for a go, if I'm not remembering. I think that's correct, actually.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Okay, there we go.
That was across Mirage and Overpass.
Exactly.
Well,
they only played once, Harry.
Yeah.
And this is the competition to be the best team.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. It's going to be great. We don't have too much of a plethora of information to go by. I'll talk a little bit about, my interest in this.
Yeah. What's your interest, Harry, in this game?
For me, it's the history between these teams, right? Like, the Polish scene, especially within, like, the Tier 2 realm, while VP was up at the top, undefeated for so long. These guys, they traded players, a fair bit. You kind of think about Pride being another one who could have been a team at one point, at least, that would have been considered to be one of the next up-and-comers. Yeah. And, for me, AGO is always a chance for Furlan to kind of get some revenge. He was actually removed from this Kinguin roster not long ago. Was one of the founding guys of AGO actually on that original squad. And, with the exception of Snatchy, who want to join VP, these guys have been together ever since. So there's an interesting history here between these two teams. Kinguin, anyway, up 3-0, and this round's been a slow burner initially. There's a little bit of utility left here over on the side of AGO. Plenty, though, when you compare that to what Kinguin have to work with. 2 flashbangs, that's all they've got. And the AWP out on Manish. This push about to come in over here towards the A bomb site, and Ralen's already gone probing. He's going to go ahead and delete his old teammate Furlan off from the map. So no love there between those two ex-brothers. Now, Equalizer comes in. Ralen's getting forced off the ramp, and this site take's going brilliantly for AGO right now. It looked a little bit sour initially. Ralen tries to send them back, but it's just not happening. There's Toa in with the flank, and suddenly Mouse is left in a 1v3.
Mouse, how is he going to do this? 50 HP on almost all of those 3 players, so it's definitely not impossible, especially if he lands this nade, but not looking like it. Taking out a 20, now it's just time to say there's no reason to go into this. You're going to die no matter what. And he will turn his tail and save. One thing that's interesting about this specific map as well is that both these teams are very talented on Dust 2. It's actually the best map statistically for Kinguin. And for AGO, it's one of the better maps. They have an 83.3% win rate. But the amount of maps they played with the current lineup is not as big, so it's not like the same amount of statistics as we have in Kinguin. Dust 2 is always a map that's kind of a guarantee for like sick firefights coming out everywhere, all over the map. But it's still a map that hasn't really been quite deciphered yet meta-wise. There's no team that's really found out how to kind of break it. We looked to Astralis as a team that could do that, but that has all changed now.
It most definitely has. But leaving the Danes behind for a moment, focusing on the polls at hand, it is going to be you know, not the best buy, all things considered, for Kinguin. They've been able to scrape together something at the very least. They have a little bit of utility to work with, but you can already see they're going to be a lot more sparing with it. And in response to this, Ferlin has gone out through long, along with the rest of the gang. Manish, in danger of getting caught out, does get bailed out of that scenario by Rietz. So that's the man advantage picked up.
Corner flash and top flash. Rietz will be going in. Knows they have to be blue container, but perfect flash timing, and Sparrow hits that shot. You can kind of see what Manish wanted to do there for his teammate, but AGO reacted correctly, and that's only a leg shot on PHR. It's going to come back to haunt him later in the round, I feel like.
Yeah, most definitely. He's now going to be very vulnerable, and there we go. That's going to be an instant reaction from Groovy. Back into a 3-on-3, all even, and that B-bomb site now looks perfectly tantalizing for AGO. They're going to turn tail and head back towards B. And they're going to get this site for free. Sparrow trying to sell this fake. And, you know, you want to talk about more recent history. This man was just recently removed from Kinguin and then joined AGO. That was the trade that took place on the back of Snatchy joining Virtus Pro. There's Manish to open up onto Sparrow. That's the lurk player dealt with, but now they have to deal with the brunt of this offensive. That's Groovy and Toa inside of B. The bomb's going to go down. It's a tunnels plant, but they're not going to have anyone in this position.
Dangerous by Groovy. Still a Molotov on Manish. Nate goes in through the window, but Groovy picks up one. Taz coming in with the second, but Taz doubles up. The old line still strikes. No worries. He's even going to have enough time to grab another weapon, Harry. So confident.
Yeah, he's having a little run around, isn't he? Well, Taz is feeling good right now, and I think with good reason. He's looked fantastic right now within this Kinguin roster. He's looking rejuvenated. He just released a really good interview as well, I think. I gave that a read earlier about how the Polish scenes lacked ambition for a long time and how he hopes that, you know, some of these new ventures could help revitalize that. So this man, you know, a lot of people were questioning after he was removed from VP, is this going to be the end of Taz?
No.
And he's here to tell us certainly not. And I think, you know, that's one of the reasons why Kinguin have been looking so good, is this man believes in this team.
Yeah. He's also, in general, just a great leader of men. Like, doesn't even matter if you're
I mean, I would follow him.
I would follow him
to my death,
to the depths of hell. I don't care.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, if he, I don't know. If he told me to go somewhere, I would probably just go.
Yeah.
If he told me right now to go somewhere and do something, I would probably just leave.
Well, let's hope he doesn't. That's a pretty powerful spell to have over someone. Tell you what, he's going to tell Toa to go down to the depths of hell, and he's going to send him there swiftly with a 5.56 round from Rout. Trying to hold his own. Sparrow and Groovy able to trade things back. Actually, this bomb will be going down for AGO. Actually gets denied, so not going to be the case. Kinguin managing to find a fifth. They're keeping these very, very clean right now, and aside from that one round that we saw AGO actually manage to pick up, it's all been the Kinguin show right now.
Yeah, they're looking fairly nice here. AGO played 6 maps of Dust 2 with their current lineup. Won 5 of them, lost 1. And that was in an OT defeat against Wendigo. It was also a very close game. But Kinguin just, so far at least, looking way better. Ral and MP7 stacked up. That's 2 easy frags. They'll only get the first one because the C set is so strong, close range. Nate is a bit too late, and Groovy will be allowed to retreat. Now, AGO setting up 3-1 split, pretty standard, short and long. They have gained access to the upper part of this long area. Manish caught in the middle of everything. Will be forced to retreat as well. I think they're going to get the bomb plant for free here.
Yeah, they most certainly are. They're going to be able to get that down. It is a 2v4 in the afterglow, but there's still a chance. They have the armor as well. So as these Kinguin players start to push in, if the trades don't come through, maybe we see AGO start to pick up some rifles. That's Rietz falling over towards short. Now it's a 2v3. Manish is tagged down low from engagements earlier on, so bear that in mind. It's all going to fall onto Toa. He's got 12 bullets, and Taz, he's got plenty. He's going to be managing a 6th round there for Kinguin. 2 kills on the back of him, and he's been just a delight to watch thus far. Yeah. It almost, you know, I mean, another thing that I'm really liking about this is, you know, let's not forget me, who used to play in this Kinguin roster, and then he left to go join Virtus Pro. He was actually the man who replaced Taz. So Taz picking up the mantle for Mihu here inside of this squad, and now looking to try and, I guess, show Virtus Pro the error of their ways in getting rid of him.
Yeah, it's funny because VP picked Snatchy from AGO and Mihu from Kinguin, right? And now these 2 teams are actually the 2 teams fighting for the #1 spot in Poland, arguably. It's kind of interesting leaving, but I guess those VP contracts are pretty sick.
Yeah, most definitely. I would take 900,000 a month any day. But here we go. Riot down inside of pit. He's going to have to back away. These smokes causing a couple of problems, but he has Taz to help him out. Smokes start to fade, and Taz, he's going to go hunting. Maybe a bit overzealous. You see the bloodlust come on in from Taz, but he has Rallen in position to trade. There's still a man inside of the pit, but Furlan and Groovy both brought down so low. That's going to be a tricky man to flush out.
Tricky indeed. Sparrow. And Minis, both with ops here. And apart from Toa's setup, the T side is completely emptied out. All of the utility. And the CT side is the same, only one smoke remaining on Rietz with 50 seconds to go. So it's going to come down to duels, it's going to come down to openings, individual prowess. Who's going to be the fastest clicker in the West? That's the question. Allen will be taken out by Sparrow. The AK prevails, but the AWP comes in. Now Minis will be smoked off.
This now leaves a lot of pressure on Mouse. He's going to be left to his own devices to try and maintain control of mid and B. They're going to spot Groovy out on short, and that gets his attention even more. He starts to pull away. This is perfect from AGO as they've only got 10 seconds left. They start to push in towards this B bomb site, and Mouse in a position where he could try and deny this bomb plant, but Groovy timing it well, going to fall at the hands of Mouse down here in mid. That is a blunder if you ever did see one, luckily enough. Toe is there to trade, but it all falls to Furlan versus Rias. There was a time where these two played on the same field, and now they play against each other. And Furlan, couple of missed shots here and there, time ticking down, but still enough time left for Rias to go for the defuse. Either player dead in one shot, so first man to connect it wins, and time ticking down, pressure's on. It's going to be Furlan winning it out. AGO finding themselves a second round.
About time, got back on that scoreboard. AGO, you can see Furlan, yes, he's happy with winning the round, but not elated with the result so far. Not actually happy with having to clutch this in a 1v2. It makes it happen nonetheless. AGO potentially can build on this, gain some economy, start to racking up those rounds, gain some momentum. Confidence is key in Counter-Strike. Let's see. Timeout, I think, coming in. One of these teams. Just taking a moment to talk, to discuss. And it is pulled by AGO. Having a few words with the team now.
Yeah, I mean, this is crunch time.
Oh, okay, double opposite of CT side works out perfectly, Harry.
I did not think there was any way that was going to work. I mean, they both go crawling into the crosshair of, I believe it was Sparrow over there in mid with the AWP, but it just does not pan out. Toe has tried to make some magic happen in here towards the B-bomb site. You have to go for some sort of play to get back into the round, and luckily enough for them, PHR and Toa, they're getting the job done. Somehow AGO have turned this round on its head. We're back into a 3-on-3. Make that now the man advantage in favor of AGO. And Taz and Mouse, it was looking like such a fantastic start for Kinguin here, just what they needed, but no. Things have now turned sour.
This could be the momentum shift, but now Mouse is biting back. Groovy and PHR both remaining. PHR's trying to slowly walk in, but Taz is holding the other flank. Let's see if he wide peeks. Does get the damage in. It's a clear trade almost, but Groovy wins out. 27 HP to spare now. Mouse 1v2, but with 33 and 27, it's kind of like might have to use the pistol for this one. And usually you would always say in a 1v2 go for it, but I don't think he's going to go for it unless he gets an opening from short. There's a lot of money invested here and not a lot of money left in the Kinguin accounts. And you can see he's just waiting for that free peek. He's waiting for the free kill, and if he gets it, he's going to go for it. And no, there's nothing is free here, Harry. Everything costs money. You know, that's life. He has to rotate away.
There's no freebies risk. That's the lesson here. Mouse has to back away. That's going to be the round going the way of AGO. I think they'd be pretty disappointed with that one, Risk. You know, you go for an interesting buy. They had the double AWPs for the most part. They were relying heavily on that, and it worked out brilliantly. Yeah, they have a 5v3 advantage, but it all gets stripped away. On the back of PH going aggressive down through short. Toa finding success in towards that B bomb site.
It's actually something that happens a lot in Counter-Strike. When you get like a 2 or maybe even a 3 kill advantage, a lot of players will just rush aggressively and kind of forget the game plan. And I don't mean to be rude or anything, but it does happen in a lot of teams also at this level or just below it. So it's just a thing to keep in mind, like just always keep that composure. And that's why sometimes a good strong in-game leader can be his weight worth in gold. For example, an MSL on North, who's just like, if you push aggressively, he'll tell you that you shouldn't push aggressively in a very harsh way, and he'll not do that again. And sometimes teams with less control, kind of like a face or a mouse, will be prone to doing stuff like that, because it's just like there's not the same amount of control in the team, same amount of control in the lineup. So if you get that effect, everyone wants to play free, and then things fall apart, like they just did here.
Oh, now this is looking like, there you go, could be on easy street in this round. They only have to contend with Mouse, who saved that AWP forward from the previous round. Sparrow going to be keeping an eye on mid. That's going to be a missed shot out. Major managing to get control of long here, but this is where Mouse resides. He's going to be battening down the hatches on that pit position. There is already a man crossed and down there, which I'm not sure he's aware of just yet. So maybe that comes back to punish Kinguin.
Mouse just holding the pixel angle. But now, 3-man setup towards long. 1 mid. 1 tunnel's rotating back now. So it looks like they're setting up for the A split. 3-2 basically. But Mouse here, unless he gets smoked off, they only have 1 of those. He's going to have these angles. And he's not going to miss shots like that. Make no mistake. They are now rotating back, so might actually go for a different setup now, as they realize the AWP on long is not to be stopped. Take mid control. It's a great position by Riyadh, but he only has a pistol. Will be removed through the box, and now the execute comes towards B. The push comes. Sparrow's holding down the angle.
Oh my goodness, though. Sparrow, this man. That was absolutely unreal. And there's only 8 seconds left. The time's ticked down too low. That's the bomb drop. This round's all over. Manish clutches it. Oh, sorry, picks that one up, takes it away from AGO. It's going to be a 7th round for Kinguin, seemingly from nowhere. As AGO kind of grind to a halt. There are a couple of nice shots coming in there from Sparrow, but it's not enough. Mao's going to be finding a few key frags over towards long, and then this hold here. That's the bomb drop. Sparrow is still waiting around down in mid. Not anticipating losing both of his teammates there on that push on in.
Incredibly low investment as well. Only 1 player with actual armor, all the remaining 4 with no armor whatsoever. Pistols on both of them. Both of them.
This is going to be the good old-fashioned B-rush, though, Riz.
Yeah, look at all this ability. Just slaughter. Like kittens into a blender, as Semler would say.
Like kittens.
Into a blender.
Into a blender.
Yeah, the old Semler quote, you know?
Yeah.
He's not here anymore, but we got to keep it in our hearts, you know?
In spirit, yeah. Out of all the things to immortalize him with, you really did.
That's actually the thing I like the most, the quote that he said.
Oh, okay.
I really like it. It's very graphic.
Well, Risk. Tell you what else is pretty graphic right now. The beating that just took place inside of that B bomb site. Kinguin up 8-3 right now. There's no money left for AGO, so they've just got to go for the flat eco in this round. And right now, out the gate, at least Kinguin are looking good. 5 rounds to their advantage. You imagine they're going to go ahead and extend that gap that much more here, given that it is just nil of pistols.
Yeah, that's a double nade. He's dead. 13 HP. And as you said, it's going to go and be a very one-sided round. 9 rounds on the table for Kinguin. Yeah, they're looking pretty solid, Harry, I have to say. Not much to point a finger on.
Yeah, they most certainly are. I do love the switch, because, you know, I think, you know, the thing with VP is they became like a victim of taking so long to ever make any changes, you know, and yeah. Now it's like they bought Mihu in, and there was a time where he was absolutely unreal, right? And Taz has already kind of started to drop off in VP at that point. and then they wait for ages. They remove Taz, they bring in Mihu now, and it doesn't feel like he has that same impact that we saw him having back in the day when he played for this Kinguin roster. And hilariously, now that Taz is here, he's having the time of his life, and he's helping lead these, you know, this ragtag bunch of misfits all the way up to the top. At least that's his ambition. Manice going to be peeking around short here where there is rather Sparrow lying in wait.
Yeah, that's one of the things in Counter-Strike. Like, the roles matter so much if you look at stats and frags and all that. You get so many more chances if you have the best roles. And yeah, we'll have a pretty terrible one right now as he's just flashed out. Manice goes for an aggressive peek, but just get away. 8 HP to space, actually sitting in the smoke. He's not gonna get a shot. Still alive, and there he goes. That's too obvious of an angle to just spray through. But yeah, as I said before, like, roles matter so much. And maybe Taz in the ending time of VP, because nothing was working, was getting worse and worse roles. And now he comes into another team, which really respect him because of his experience, and then he can pick whatever he wants. Obviously, I don't know that, but that's just an idea.
That's the old risk hunch talking, but we've learned to trust that over our time here. Kinguin going to be reaching double digits, now up 10-3. And also, everyone wearing their own jersey, which is a nice...
Yeah. They got all their luggage back.
Yeah.
Took some time, as it usually does. Very frustrating. But it's all here now, Harry. Everything's good.
Wow. Heading into this round, there you go. Definitely not the half they would have wanted right now. 5-10 is still possible, but it doesn't look likely given this buy that they've got right now, and not with Manice slamming down the gauntlet over here in mid. Asparius had a great debut here with Ego since coming into this roster. But right now, versus his former teammates, the former org he was a part of, he does seem to be struggling a little bit. Rolling. Fall up here on short. That's a rifle given up. There's one man over here at car, but other than that, this A defense is all on the back of Rietz, and he's going to fall. That's a bomb plant, almost guaranteed here for Ego.
You have one nade, but it goes down too early. Toe will get the bomb down. He's only on 10 HP, and PHR is only on a scout, so they're going to need a miracle to bring this one home. But there's a possibility, and already now, gaining some economy on their own so they can get a good buy in this last round of the half, but also limiting the economy on some of the players. But I think with 10k, it's going to be enough. PHR 1v1 against Taz now. It's going to be Taz winning it out with 3 HP to spare. Close, but no cigar for Ego. Look at the potential 12-3, Harry.
Yeah, that is an extremely dominant half here from Kinguin. Taz, he was feeling pretty confident coming into this one based on what the guys on the desk were saying. I think Dustin, he had a couple of choice words with him saying, you know, you should just pick us, right? That's the way to go. And he's living up to the hype right now, is Taz. Looking utterly fantastic. Sparrow, gonna have that AWP back. This is what I've been excited. He's been pretty decent with it, I think. You know, he's showing definitely has the capabilities.
That's so dangerous. That push without flashbangs from teammates is so dangerous, and that's why he gets taken out instantly. If there are 2 players down aggressive long, as usually CTs like to do in the first 20 seconds of a round, if you don't do the 2 flashes that come with that push, you're dead. Like, it's as simple as that. Molotov to car. Will potentially spread. Yeah. Taz has to use a smoke, but he can't really get caught by it. There's only 1 T down towards long. He can aggress. Sparrow, though.
Yeah, that's the man who's been on the bench of Kinguin for far too long, now looking to try and make them take a seat, and he does successfully drop Manice. So he's started to present a way for Ego back into this round. They would love this one here, just a great buy, manage that 4-11 half. The push looking like it's going to come in towards B, where they have to get past Mouse. He's holding close. Ruby walks on in. Is going to get dinked down, but finds the frag. So bomb plant just moments away here for Ego. And now we're back into a 3-on-3. The X Factor is going to be Toa wrapping back through this T-spawn. He's going to be allowed to keep an eye.
I'm not sure if Taz actually spotted that or if he was a second away. He's definitely, yeah, he knows. They're playing it very carefully in tunnels. No, they think he's gone. He's still here. No, an advantage for Ago in the post plant because that T-spawn player is not going to move. Rallen will have to push it and then watch for the angle, but he's still not moving. Rallen 1v2, one on the side, one behind him. Does not have a smoke for the bomb, has to go for the kill, but it doesn't matter. It's going to be the round for Ago. 4 rounds on the board. They solidify a bit in the end. And yeah, 4-11, Harry. Pretty one-sided.
Yeah, pretty one-sided indeed right now. I mean, there was a time where this Kinguin roster probably wanted nothing more than to be up top, you know, beating the likes of Taz, beating them now. You know, now he sits with this team, looking to try and lead them through to victory, and it's working out brilliantly right now. 11-4 in favor of Kinguin. Ago not really showing us the sort of form they've had throughout this event and all the hype that's been around them. But there is still more CS to be played, and that's the good news. As we get ready to head into this second half here. Rishma, what do we need to see from Ago? What needs to change right now? Because Kinguin have just been annihilating them at every turn, it feels like.
Yeah, it just seems like the T side wasn't as strong. There were a couple of times where they would do an execute where someone was missing a flashbang or something. Like, for example, the push out towards long. I'm not saying it's easy because it's definitely like hard to get all that organization going and having 7 different defaults opening with flashes and everything, but that double flash opening towards long is something that teams that play a lot of Dust 2 do know by now and pull out every 3rd round or something like it. So I'm kind of surprised that he just went out dry without flashbangs. And there are a lot of different small situations like that. So it's like the last 10% they're missing. And that seems kind of weird when it's a 4-11. But that just shows how quickly stuff turns in Counter-Strike. If you're missing that last percent, those last 10%, the whole game can just roll out of your hands.
Still, the odds are interesting right now. We see them coming in, and this is still weighted, you know, by the folks over at GG Bet as a pretty close game. Yep. So here's Ferlin managing himself with 1 kill over towards long. Sparrow beside him with another. Taz in with the return, and now Taz, tell you what, he might not have Neo on the roster anymore, but he's dodging bullets like he's in the Matrix. It all falls onto PH-Sharp. 1v3, that bomb goes down and he's going to fall. So Kinguin finding the pistol here. That's going to now see them move up 12-4 and a chance at taking a 14-4 scoreline before a bye comes in for AGO.
Yeah, and if they reach that point, it's basically just a question of time before they grind enough rounds home. Like, that has to be the most monumental comeback that AGO has ever done, I feel like. If it has to happen, then. It's going to be the force up here, as per usual for the CTs. 1 scout on Sparrow. And 1 on Furlan, the rest on that armor. Desert Eagle for PHR. Reyes takes some damage, but finds the opening kill.
They try the aggression over here towards B, and Toa is going to come to regret that decision. Taz spiraling through into middle. Charging on in. And he's going to finish off Sparrow. He's looking keen right now. Just Ferlin and PHR left alive. There should be no way for them back into this round. The anti-eco from Kinguin does net them a 13th. We see Ferlin and PHR desperate to try and hold on to this tiny bit of investment that they have. They're going to start to try and set up a crossfire over here inside of the A-bomb site. Kinguin, you can see they're considering going on the hunt, but I think they might just elect to play things safe here. They have 3 players left alive, so you don't want to really start to throw any more money away, especially with Manish being the one guy that is nearby. He's got that AK, so if they are able to pick that up, that's not too bad a scenario for AGO, all things considered.
Yeah, Kinguin looking quite good here in those 2. It's actually interesting because I remember watching them back at in the European minor where they played Red Reserve, which are also at this event. Lost in OT on Dust 2. Played against Alternate Attacks in MDL. Lost very surprisingly, a big loss to Alternate Attacks, and then they went to Zotac, where they lost to MIBR in the final, right? But now, in the last 3 games, they've actually turned it around and turned out victories. So it seems like this is something that Kinguin has spent some time on, like progressing in, like playing this Dust 2, making sure that they know CT and T side. Everything's just on point. This one is rather easy because the equipment for the CT side is almost non-existent. But it's always nice to see them having like a specific plan with things, the flash timings, the Molotov timings, knowing that when Taz goes in like that, if he finds an opening, when he finds it, it's just barrage on the bomb site. It's looking nice. Sparrow, last man standing, will be taken out. And Harry, you predicted it. 14-4, and now the first Byron comes in.
Yes, indeed. Kinguin poised to take their map pick of Dust 2 in a very, very dominant fashion here. This first buy coming in from Ego needs to be where we see them turn things around. We have this buy coming on in. There isn't going to be an AWP in play. It's just rifles across the board. No kits either. So if that bomb goes down, they're going to be having to deal with that 10-second defuse. And for Kinguin, it's a complete change of pace. Rushing on in over here towards long. The flashes, the nades all coming through. But it's going to be Kinguin lighting up that kill feed. 3 kills over towards long. Rallen's even going to manage Toa down here in mid. And this round is all said and done. It's just PHR left. And he cannot do anything in a 1v5. Yeah. You'd imagine. I'm kind of putting him down a bit there. Maybe he's going to do it. Probably will now that I've said that. But
this was a very interesting long take as well. So much utility thrown into that. A lot of players as well. But they do get long control and do get 2 or 3 kills out of it. And I always like the fact that you can push maybe 1 or maybe 2 players out long aggressively with the AKs and the flash timings. And then behind that, you can get an AWP. So if they want to re-peek long corner with a flashbang, you can just dance back and forth and get that AWP kill very easily. And that's kind of what you get if you commit a lot of utility and players towards the long take. And that's one of the basics of playing Dust 2 on a higher level. Get that long control. You always got to get that long control. 3 kills.
Yeah, I mean, that's the scary thing. If you're AGO, I think, right now you've kind of written this off, perhaps. I mean, there's 11 rounds consecutively you're going to need, and you've struggled to chain together 2. But the bigger issue right now is Kinguin. They take control along there. They don't throw out a single flash, any utility, right? Actually, all the flashbangs, all the nades actually came through in favor of AGO, and yet still they're able to find all the frags over towards long. This is a very deflated AGO, not one that we're used to seeing, let me tell you that. Normally, these guys play a very fast, very kind of confident style of CS, and we're not seeing that right now, and that's kind of the beauty of these domestic matchups. Kinguin, they very much have kind of sucked the momentum and pulled the rug out from beneath AGO here on Dust 2.
Definitely looking good so far. Timeout being taken by AGO. And yeah, it seems like there was just maybe some headset issues. So it might have been a technical one. We're not quite sure. At least one of the players standing up over in the Kinguin camp. So just waiting for now to get back into the game. So I'm not quite sure what this is. I think they're trying to solve an issue technically, because when there's a technical timeout, you're not allowed to talk, but I think they're talking about how to fix the issue technically. Yes, exactly. We just got told headset issues for Kinguin, so they're trying to resolve it.
You know what'd be the worst thing to hear? What? Just yeah, they can't actually hear footsteps. I'd be like, oh, I'm done. It's spreading.
Oh, reference game on point.
Yeah, no, we're all good. Everything should be fine. Working overtime to get that headset swapped in. But I'm happy. It gives a bit more. I like a good technical pause as long as there's not too many. It gives you a bit of time to mull over what we're seeing, build some storylines. For AGO, I mean, you imagine this is surely going to be defeat, right? They need 11 rounds consecutively to haul a comeback, and even then, that doesn't guarantee the win here on Dust 2. Kinguin, there's no denying it. They've looked absolutely fantastic on this map. Next up, going to be Train, and we've seen AGO have some pretty decent performances there in the past. So,
yeah. Definitely, and Kinguin, not the best team in the world, not the worst team in the world on Train. They have a pretty solid 56% win rate. Got absolutely demolished by the bigger teams such as the MIBR, but they are defeating with the relative ease the lower teams. So it's kind of like an okay middle of the ground, middle of the pack map for Kinguin. But AGO are definitely going to have the advantage when we go over there. So it's nice that Kinguin start off with a very confident beginning, because then they'll go into Train being very confident, and that's potentially what they need to turn it around. If you look at it like that. But now 3 MP9s. AGO wanting to play close range. Probably the only one actually able to take a semi-long range duel with the FAMAS. But for now, the T side grouping up 3 players towards B.
Yeah, looking like they just want to try and brute force their way to success here in map number 1. And already Groovy has been dealt with in mid. That leaves so much pressure on these 2 players inside of B. But PHR, he's going to step up. He's going to answer the call. He finds himself 2, and that's, I was going to say, might be enough. But Manish there to drop him from the server. Out comes Rietz. Rahlen's holding mid. It's been destruction. It all falls on Espero, this man who was on the bench of Kinguin until just recently when he joined this AGO roster. Now left in a 1v3. CZ in hand, flashing a nade. Maniz holding the angle. He's going to spot him, tags him up. And Kinguin looking poised now to take this first map. In our first semi-final of the day, Riot's going to be the man to finish things off, and that will be them securing their map pick of Dust 2. Kinguin 16-4. They look absolutely fantastic at the end of map 1.
I love that setup they have in mid as well. Like, they have 3 players pushing into B and they lose 2 of them, then Maniz holds back, plays defensively. Then the 2 players in mid realize they have to open up. So one of them goes straight for the B peak, and the other one holds the angle down in mid, so that when someone rotates in through CT, that's just a free frag for Rahlen. And it's kind of almost like a bait frag. He keeps his teammate alive as well. So just in general, really nice T-side setups.
Yeah, I mean, there's no denying it. Kinguin looked ready. They looked prepared there. They felt comfortable coming into Dust 2. And the scoreline definitely showed that, right? AGO never really getting a chance to show up. Train being the map that comes up next. That's going to be just as interesting. It's a good map for AGO, but it's also a good map for Kinguin. So this has the potential to kind of end here and now if Kinguin can keep this pace up.
Yeah.
Still, there's plenty more CS yet to come. The Polish Derby continues. We'll be back with map number 2 after the break.